All right, everybody. Thanks again for joining us for today's virtual tank event. I'm Brandon Andrews from Values Partnerships. We lead a nationwide casting tour for ABC's Shark Tank in a pre-pandemic setting. We do in-person events all around the country with incredible partner organizations, ecosystem builders that are working in the communities we want to reach. In this pandemic setting, we're doing a series of virtual conversations that we call Virtual Tank, focused on sharing the stories of some of the entrepreneurs that we've had the honor to meet and work with over the past several years, working with the Shark Tank casting team, and also sharing tips in the way that you can apply to be on season 13 of the show. Today, we are joined by Susan Allen, who is the president and CEO of the USPAACC Asian American Chamber of Commerce, an incredible organization working with on behalf of small businesses and entrepreneurs around the country. We're also joined by Kent, who is the co-founder of Neuro. I'm a Shark Tank alum, and so we're going to hear his story, hear about his experience on the show, and also, again, hear some tips from me and him on pitching to potentially be on season 13 of Shark Tank. And at the end of our conversation, we'll have the opportunity for some of you entrepreneurs who are joining us today to pitch your business, which I'm really excited about, always excited about being in the space where we get to connect with entrepreneurs and hear what you were working on. To begin our conversation, I want to turn it over to Susan Allen, who again is the president and CEO of the USPAACC, an organization supporting entrepreneurs across the country. Susan, introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about the work that you're doing with entrepreneurs around the country.
Thank you, Brandon, and thank you for inviting us to this program. From what I've seen already, you have scored an A grade from me. USPAACC, the organization that I have the privilege of leading, celebrated our 35th anniversary last year. Despite COVID-19, on December 8th last year, we had a wonderful show, all done virtually and surprised a lot of people. We got a chance to send you a link so that you can enjoy that. We were formed 35 years ago when there was no organization that represented the Asian American businesses in the mainstream. We have two civil rights organizations and some localized Chinese American businesses, most likely in the Chinatown area. And we are the leaders, the 8 of them actually, came together in a little Chinese restaurant in Chinatown in Washington, D.C. And they wanted to have this organization that will be national, that will represent not just one single ethnic group. You know, at that time, every ethnic group is either Chinese or Japanese. Essentially, at that time, it was only Chinese, Japanese. So that's why we call ourselves Pan-Asian American Chamber of Commerce. Pan meaning East, Southeast, South, and Pacific Island Americans. I call it like a frying pan from rim to rim, all the way from Pacific Ocean, all the way to the Indian subcontinent. We formed this organization so that there is one unified voice representing Asian Americans so that we will have the same equal opportunity as everybody else. Because at that time, 35 years ago, Asians were very quiet and they only wanted to do their own thing and make sure that the kids go to school, come home to their homework, and they do their business or go to work and start the routine over and over again, never looked out of the window to try to get them to be engaged with the community. We also was an organization that also looked at, well, what are Asian Americans good at? And we found out that we have Asian Americans in science and technology, in education, in the arts, of course in business, and not in addition to the very important businesses in the local marketplace, which are restaurants and stores and our service industry, which is the basic foundation of the community. With COVID-19, we know now how important they are. When they all shut down, we have no place to go and buy even our paper goods. So we have created 7 categories of Asian American that we want to pick out from the big population and show the mainstream America, this is who we are. We have architects like I.M. Pei, the one who designed the Louvre Museum in Paris, the National Museum of Arts in Washington, D.C., and the biggest, tallest building in Hong Kong, the Bank of China. We have Yo-Yo Ma, who's the most famous cellist in the world. And we have, at that time, we have the fellow who co-founded Hotmail.com, Sabir Bhatia. We have Olympians, Christy Yamaguchi, and what is his name? Apollo Ono. All that, we pull them all out from their comfort zone and brought them to our conference and showcase mainstream America. This is what Asian Americans look like. So every year we will showcase them, and I say this is what we do. And then on business, every year our biggest conference is called, before the year 2000, we call it Celebration 2000, or call it Excellence 2000. People are looking at the year 2000, things are going to happen. And after we pass the year 2000, we call out our awards dinner, Excellence Award Dinner, when we will bring corporations, large company, Fortune 1000 companies, like the UPS, the Federal Express, the Coca-Cola, the PepsiCo, you name it, AT&T, together and meet with our entrepreneurs who want to do business with them. And in our situation here today, there are innovators within the small and minority business community who want to pitch their products, their systems, and their ideas, whether it's a startup or as a mezzanine company, to either the end users, the buyers, or investors, whether they're JVs or institutional investors, so that they could, if they meet the right people, they will have folks looking at them and invest in the company. We do that every year. And for those who are not inventors like Ken here, they already have a business. Some of them are startups. Some of them are 5 or 10 years old. Some of them are 30 years old. So our members' revenue range from 1 million to 600 million average a year. And they would meet, they will be matched with the corporation who have a particular need for their particular type of services. So we match them up. And so the buyers from the major corporation will be able to meet the Asian American and now other minorities. We started off, Brandon, focused on Asian Americans only 35 years ago, because nobody represented us. Remember, we didn't even have an organization that represented Asian Americans. So we just focused on them, change the mindset and say, hey, you can come out and be part of the mainstream. So over all these years, we become fairly successful, because we want to make sure that our members are successful. But in doing so, we begin to create programs that are cutting edge, that are thought leadership programs. And so other organizations, even in other ethnic groups, even in mainstream America, look at our program and took a page out of our playbook. For example, our annual one-on-one business matchmaking meeting, we created that 20 years ago. And now it's one of the hottest programs in all conferences, whether it is government conference, corporation conference, industry conference, everybody has one-on-one matchmaking meetings. We also bring the procurement people in corporation for them to meet with specific small businesses who have something new to offer, help them to meet each other on special occasions when the match is right. Okay, when we know that the small business or entrepreneur, what they have to offer will match at a minimum the interest and need of the corporation. We do a whole lot, Brandon. I should tell you that if you give me 5 minutes, that's like a half of a keynote speech. We also were the first organization to in the country to work with the U.S. Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, the U.S. Black Chambers, and the National LGBT Chamber of Commerce. The 4 of us together, the largest Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, the most numerous Black chambers, and the largest LGBT Chamber of Commerce, and USPAACC, the most established, I would say, effective Asian American Chamber of Commerce come together. We have been working together for 10 years. And I just had did a speech this morning. That's a speech that I did in the last 10 years, we have together presented 45 programs where our members meet each other in different cities across the country so they can share their connections, their knowledge, their best practices, and their problems. And it's one of the best things we've ever done. And
yeah, I think that's great. Being able to work together. It's always better if we're able to work together and put our collective efforts forward. And that's part of the reason why we wanted to do these virtual tank events with great organizational partners like you, because it's one thing to give entrepreneurs an opportunity to be showcased on television for a moment, but it's another thing to provide the ongoing support that you and the other chambers are providing. So thanks so much, Susan, for the work that you're doing, and thanks again to you and your colleagues at the USPAACC for the incredible work that you're doing supporting entrepreneurs. We have a great entrepreneur and a Shark Tank alum with us today, and we're going to hear a little bit about his experience. Kent Yoshimura is not only an entrepreneur, but he's also an incredibly accomplished artist, technologist, and you have to definitely check out some of his work online. Maybe one day I'll be able to afford him to do a portrait or something of me at some point. But Kent, thanks so much for joining us for our virtual tank session. I would love to have you share a little bit about yourself, and then let's dive into the story behind Neuro.
Awesome. Yeah. Thanks for the kind words, Brandon. It's good to see you again. And Susan, having leaders like you, especially hearing stories about my parents who are both immigrants and them not having a support system amongst even other Asian Americans. And for us in our generation to be able to have that now is absolutely remarkable. And, even with Shark Tank alumni and being an entrepreneur, the greatest part of the journey is how wide the world becomes, how many people you get to meet. And so I'm grateful every day, especially to be brought into things like this. So yeah. Should I just dive right into the Shark Tank?
Yeah. So would love to hear, Kent. Every business has a founding story. What led you to start? I know you have a co-founder as well, but what led you both of you to start Neuro? Neuro
Gum back then. So I was telling Susan as we were getting to know each other, I come from a background of athletics, art, music, but primarily athletics, especially training for the Olympics and judo, was the biggest part of my life from like the age 14 until 21, 22. And during that time, while I was studying neuroscience at UC San Diego, I was trying to find a balance between the body and the mind, find things that I could supplement my body with and my mind with to perform my best. And the supplements I was mixing in my room eventually became V0. But my co-founder, my brother, my best friend, who I've been in business with for 5+ years now, when he was 19, he was a cross-country and track star that was, he took his high school to state and nationals, but unfortunately, during a snowboarding trip, his sophomore year of college, he broke his back and became paraplegic from the waist down. Despite that, Ryan is the type of person that just has such mental fortitude, and even through all his difficulties, he was able to complete school on time. And in that process, I was providing him with these supplements I was mixing to really help him, because we are not the type of people having athletic backgrounds to take Red Bull or Monster Energy drink or caffeine pills or even Adderall, like what all the other college kids are doing. And so we, during a scuba diving trip, both of us kind of looked at each other while we were taking these supplements and thought, there's all these supplements that it's a multi-billion-dollar industry that sits in your medicine cabinet that's supposed to promote health. But health should be a habitual thing. It should be something that is part of your daily life and all parts of your life. So why not create something that is intrinsically shareable, intrinsically sits in your pocket, and does not have the stigma that pills have? And the first thing that came to our minds was gum and mints. Those are things that you can share with people. It freshens your
Yeah.
breath. It's fun.
Mhm.
So uh, 5.5 years later, we're here now. We're in Whole Foods nationwide and every single store across the United States. We're in 7,500 CVS stores. We're a top 5 grocery product on Amazon, and we've had the fortune of being on Shark Tank a little over 2 years ago now, which is crazy. And we're loved by people like Apollo Ono, who's an investor of ours,
Oh,
and other Olympians, as well as people like Joe Rogan, who have a big mainstream presence. So,
Yeah, that's such a great story, Kent, and something that you don't know about me. Um, I was a Division I track athlete actually in college. I did
oh, wow.
I competed in the triple jump. Don't ask me to triple jump today. Not if I want to be able to walk the next day. But what an incredible story! Something I very often say to entrepreneurs, and this is just coming up over and over again as I'm doing these virtual tank conversations with Shark Tank alums, is if you want to start a business, because for literally for every one person I meet that says, hey, I have a business and I want to pitch to be on Shark Tank, there are 3 or 4 people that say, man, I'd love to start a business. I'd love to be on the show, but I don't have a business. I don't have an idea yet. But I tell people, hey, go through your week and just write down problems you encounter in your week. And there's probably something in that list of problems that you can come up with a solution with, and probably something in that list of solutions that's worth building a business around. And you're going to be motivated to solve those problems because they're things that you encounter. You're going to have a unique origin story, because an authentic origin story, because it's part of your daily life. And you're also probably going to be uniquely positioned, uniquely capable of solving the problem, again, because of your proximity to it. And so you're definitely living proof that that formula works. And so if we have any entrepreneurs or entrepreneurs, people that are aspiring entrepreneurs, if you don't have something yet, definitely do what Kent did. Go through your week and identify some of the problems you're encountering, and maybe one thing will be worth building a business around and landing you on Shark Tank.
mhm.
Absolutely.
Um,
Authenticity is that key word also. Like,
yeah,
trying to solve someone else's problem is not going to make you come off as genuine or authentic. And, I don't know if there's pitch recommendations later and tips later, but uh, being yourself, especially when you're on national television, definitely shows.
yeah, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
so sometimes people ask us, do we ever like throw people out there for comic relief, or throw people out there to just try to make something happen, to try to make a moment happen? And the reality is, no, like we try to set everybody up for success. The human condition means that there's always going to be some people that, maybe somebody forgets a line, or something like that happens, but we don't have to create those moments. And when you're authentic, I think both from a production standpoint and also from the standpoint of the entrepreneurs, from the standpoint of the participants in the show, you can have some really not just interesting, but also I think compelling and gripping moments, which is a lot of what we get on Shark Tank. So now, Kent, let's talk about the show. When did you first hear about Shark Tank? When did you first start thinking this could be something for me and my business?
The second you become an entrepreneur, I think the first show you hear about is Shark Tank, right?
Yeah,
Like, it is the binge watching show of this decade slash last 2 decades. So what's crazy is it's something that we've always wanted to be on, but we never were sure if we were prepared or not
yeah,
until we went to when I first met you, at that casting call in Arizona.
yeah,
And it's funny because Shark Tank did reach out to us when we just started our business, and we found success early on our fundraising campaign. But we definitely were not. Um, in, I would say we were not veteran enough businessmen to be able to go in and answer all the questions that the sharks were throwing at us. So, I forgot what the second question was, but yeah, it was
Well, yeah, no, you answered it. I just wanted to know, when did it come into your mind? And since you mentioned our casting call, what was the casting process like for you? It sounds like, there are kind of two ways to come into the casting process for the show. One way is there are people like myself and others, a great group of people that live and work in LA, and they reach out to entrepreneurs all over the country, people that they think might have a spark, might have some potential. The other way is coming inbound, so coming to again, in a pre-pandemic environment, coming to a casting call. We had a casting call that we did with the Better Business Bureau and the the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce there in Phoenix. So some folks that you might know, Susan, a couple years ago. You came to the event. How was the casting process for you, and any tips that you might have for entrepreneurs as they are looking to potentially get the opportunity to be on the show?
So I will say, you pre-pandemic, so you are in one room crammed together with probably, I want to say like 80 or so people at the Better Business Bureau. But Brandon, you did a great job, because I remember Ryan and I were just sitting in the back and we were like, dang, like we were practicing this pitch over and over again. But you're like, everyone needs to chill out. Like, here's some tips before you go into that other room and do the pitch. And the amount of characters and like, this might sound like, the amount of characters and like the level of confidence that's in that room ranges so much.
Yeah.
You'll start talking to people and you might get intimidated by people that are like very hyper confident in their business. And then you might see the other ones that are definitely shy and hope that you don't come off like perhaps they do. So really going back and grounding yourself to your authenticity, trusting your pitch, trusting your product. Like, why be an entrepreneur and why pitch a product if you don't even trust the product itself, right? So like believing in the product that you have. And then I remember for Ryan and I, it was it's a whole adventure, because like, you see people doing like sit-ups and stuff, like trying to like,
no, I remember that guy. He had a whole like thing on the floor that was
like doing ab workouts, and Ryan and I were just like, whoa, all right. Like, we're up against this guy. And so I remember going into the pitch room. Ryan and I had our pitch ready. The lady will be like, okay, go for it. And I'm not sure if it's part of the process or if they were given these rules, but they showed zero affect. So even after we thought we did the best pitch ever, she was like, okay, great. We'll give you guys a call back. Next. Do not let that intimidate you at all. And always know that, like I was saying earlier, we were called onto the show initially, and then we didn't get chosen, knock on wood, and like, thank God, because we were much better prayer later. And Brandon, tell me if this is wrong, but just because you're not called upon the first time after a casting does not mean you don't have an opportunity later.
Oh yeah, that's definitely true. So a lot of entrepreneurs apply 2 or 3 times before they actually make it on the show. And there's a woman, Click and Save, Kim Meckwood, who applied 7 times before making it on the show. And she was actually on the show this season. She had an episode last fall and got a deal with Barbara Corcoran. Definitely don't give up on your dream if Shark Tank is part of it. And yeah, there's no penalty for coming back the next year and saying, okay, I've got more traction, I've got more sales, I know my business a little bit better, I'm now ready to be more competitive than I was the year before.
Right, and take advantage of all those opportunities. And really with your pitch, in the same way, it's, for us, it was a major learning experience for our business, because you do have to dive into the numbers. You have to understand like what really all the lingo that surrounds business is. And so really, if anything, if this is your first time and you don't even get chosen, use it as an opportunity to understand your business better, what each of the numbers mean, what each of the equity holders represent, what you represent in the company, and take that to the table. And if it doesn't work, like all things, you continue to refine, improve, and come back again more resilient than ever.
Very good advice. Very good.
Yeah, definitely great advice. So, Kent, you decided you wanted to be on Shark Tank. You went to the casting call. You went through the process. You got on set, pitched your business successfully. How was it actually pitching to the Sharks on set? And then, before we go over to our pitches, which we will do here in another minute or so, would love to hear what you've been up to since appearing on the show. But let's start with what was it like to be on set under the lights in front of the Sharks?
Sure. Yeah. Well, first of all, the pitch you do to the casting director is in no way a semblance of the pitch you will do in front of the Sharks.
Yeah, it's definitely a journey.
It is a journey. That application process is even a journey. So, you will be assigned with two producers. Ours were the most amazing people ever. They will help you with getting the sets. If you're not like an interior set designer, don't worry, because they will help you with that. They'll help you refine your pitch. They'll listen to your story, and then they'll put you right before the shark. I remember like we were in that like room outside the studio, and they hyped us up so much to get us ready. It was the best pep talk ever. They kneeled down next to us and they gave us the best pep talk ever. And the doors, sorry, this might be a semi-long story, but we're waiting outside the door, and we were the first. They pushed us to the very front, so we were actually the first company to go pitch in front of the Sharks for the new season. And they were like, "All right, guys, you're going to be on in 5 minutes. Like, get ready." And Ryan and I, our adrenaline is at an all-time high. 5 minutes passes, like 10 minutes passes, and they're like, "All right, guys, you'll be on in 5 minutes. Get ready." Basically, an hour and a half passes until we even go on because the Sharks weren't ready. They're like doing makeup. So by that time, we're like exhausted. Doors swing open, we go through, and once you're in there, the craziest thing is the first 90-second pitch is so nerve-wracking because you have to be spot on. But I remember we made a mistake, and we took a step back, like we took a breath, and then we just started that line over. And then in the editing, they made it seem like it was perfect.
Yeah.
So like the editors are going to be on your side unless the human condition, like many things, comedic relief happens.
Yeah.
But the editors are going to be on your side to make you look great. Two, once we were in there, it just felt like being a part of any other investor meeting. And I don't know how much detail I'm supposed to disclose, but it was so surreal to know that there was an entire production crew behind us and around the Sharks, and there were cameras flying above us. You don't see any of them. The way production has set it up, it is a completely quiet set where it's just you two and the Sharks. And although it's edited down to 7 minutes, we were in there for an hour and 15 minutes talking to them.
Yeah.
And really getting very well along with most of them. Some of the judges we still speak to this day. So it's
definitely it's a real conversation, as real as it can get, for TV. And like you said, definitely we do our best to put everybody in a position to be successful. And that's our hope. And, for some entrepreneurs, success is going on set and, closing the deal and moving forward. For others, it's going on and getting an air date and getting their product in front of a lot of people.
Yep.
But either way, we definitely want businesses to continue to grow. What have you been up to since appearing on the show? And we'll have time for a couple of questions here. So folks in the audience, if you have questions, feel free to drop them into the QA or drop them into the chat. But Kent, tell us, what have you been up to since being on the show?
So, and hopefully you could hear me because I just see double of myself all of a sudden. But we pitched before pandemic. So the waiting process was quite long until we aired. And then we aired during pandemic, which were probably like 2 weeks into pandemic or 3 weeks into pandemic. And I remember that vividly because we had like an 80-person Zoom call with all of our friends and investors. And then that was the first time I saw Ryan since pandemic started, so we could watch it together. But since then, we've had, it's again, I'm grateful that our business continues to double every year, even through the pandemic. We got entry into 500 every single Whole Foods basically in the United States. Joe Rogan pushed us extremely hard, which was incredible. We're expanding out into Canada and Japan as well, and Korea in the next few months. And I was telling Susan, but really the next phase in our business is with opportunities like Shark Tank or PR opportunities like, Forbes 30 under 30, which is a big one. Being on the cover of Entrepreneur magazine was a big one, alongside I think like 75 other amazing entrepreneurs. All those things helped us go from being a product that was very unknown to becoming a product that's still somewhat unknown, but reaching the public consciousness. And now it's our time to really cross over and become a brand, become a lifestyle company, become something where we represent something more than really, at the end of the day, we're gummy mints with vitamins in it, right? Like, but in the same way, like an energy drink is just caffeine inside a carbonated beverage or anything else. Our next stage is representing ourselves so much more than what our product is, and that's going to be our journey from here on out.
Yeah,
so we're excited about it.
I'm super excited about seeing you continue to grow as well. What an incredible story. Thank you again so much for coming on and sharing that with us. And I guess first, thanks for again seeing a problem that you had, and a problem that folks similar to you probably had, wanting to find some kind of healthy way to stay energized and coming up with a great solution for it. So I'm going to do one question here, which I think is really relevant, from Preeti. It's, how long was the process from you going to the casting call to you actually airing on the show and potentially getting funding for the business? How long was that process for you?
It was when was Arizona? April?
Yeah.
I want to say, April. And then we got the call 2 months, maybe a little over 2 months later. And then we shot in August or September.
Yeah. We usually shoot June and September every year. So September makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. I remember we were prepping everything in August, and then we shot in September. So it was a pretty tight turnaround.
Yeah.
But again, the producers will help you in as many ways as possible to get you there. So don't be too worried.
Good stuff. Well, I am going to, with my comments between pitches, try to answer the other questions that are here in the Q&A, but I don't want to wait on doing pitches any longer. First up, I want to go to Ray Lee, who has a business scene. We'll go ahead and promote Ray here. And after Ray, we'll have Yasmin come up and share their pitch, and then we'll move through the list from there. Here's what we're looking for. Hey, Ray, just give me 1 second to give instructions. So here's what we're looking for. 90 seconds. I want to hear problem, solution, market opportunity, traction, and for you to make an ask. You can pretend like we're on set for Shark Tank and make an ask like you're asking the sharks today, or if you want, you can make an ask, follow us on social media and ask that's appropriate for an audience of entrepreneurs, etc. I will start the clock, Ray, after you give us your name and the name of your business. And then after you pitch, we'll give you a little bit of feedback from Kent, from Susan, and myself. All right?
Awesome. Sounds great. Thanks so much, Brandon.
Great, Ray. Yeah, no problem at all. So give us your name of your business, and I'll start the clock.
Great. My name is Ray Lee, and I'm the co-founder and CEO of Scene, and we are a fashion tech company. So we all know the frustration of ordering something online, but the fit isn't quite right. And so if you look at the history of fashion, the standard size system was made in the 1930s, and then the way we think about fit hasn't changed in almost a century. And fit isn't just a personal problem, it's a business problem, because over $1 billion worth of clothing is returned every single year. But it's also a social problem because people of color are disproportionately impacted by the way fits are created. And finally, it's a environmental problem because over $5 billion of clothing thrown away every year. So at Scene, we're making custom one-of-a-kind clothing possible for everyone by making it faster, easier, and more affordable. And we created Smart Fit, which is proprietary technology, which is like a master key that unlocks access to all the styles that you've ever wanted to wear. And it's powering, Smart Fit is powering also a direct-to-consumer brand that we've launched as well. And it's for both men and women. You take a 60-second quiz, it generates a custom size, and the perfect fit arrives in 2 weeks. And it's covered by a 60-day guarantee with unlimited remakes, alterations, and free returns if you don't like it. What's been really cool is we've been growing really fast. We launched on Kickstarter in 2019. We're at a $3 million run rate at this point. And also the KPIs are like kind of setting records for things that have never been seen in fashion e-com. So for example, our refund rate is 12% when you compare it to e-com for fashion, which is normally up to 35 to 40%. So we're seeing a lot of this exciting stuff. And yeah, love Shark Tank. I guess the ask would be for everyone to check us out at scenestudio.com or follow us on Instagram, which is Scene Studio.
Great stuff. Great stuff. Thanks so much for the pitch, Ray. Susan, I'll start with you this time. What did you think of Ray's pitch?
Well, I like it. I like to try it. But I think that I need to get to know more about it, Ray, before. When you talk about fashion, I love it. But what is the price range that you catering it to? What generation are they?
Yeah, so I guess I'll give you just a reference point in terms of our current product. We are basically our jeans, our two signature products are our custom jeans, which is $149, and it's fully custom made, includes unlimited remakes and alterations. So where we price for everything is we're at a premium price point, but we're an incredible value compared to the alternatives like 7 for L&9, Rag and Bone, etc. And then our other products are Flex Tech suit, which is like an athleisure travel suit. It's $595, and when you think about a custom product with all of these services attached, we want to come in at and feel like this is an amazing value.
But you offer alteration as well. Doesn't that increase the cost substantially? The alteration, they buy something, by the time you alter it, women's figure will change, right? How many times can they alter it?
Well, it's because our Smart Fit is so good that we're able to offer such a generous guarantee. So most of the time people don't need it, but I think it helps a lot for people to know that the guarantee is there. And it makes custom less scary.
Is that spandex?
A lot of our stuff has some stretch in it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Great stuff.
And it's quick. It's 2-week turnaround. So
where are they made? Where are they made then, Ray?
Yeah. So the fabrics are all from Japan. We work with Prada's mill, and we work with Lululemon's mill. And then for our the cut and sew is currently all in China.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Great stuff. Kent, what did you think?
I've checked out Scene, and it looks very, very stylish and sexy. So congrats on that. Two, so in listening to the pitch, there were so many buzzwords and technological words. If I were to take a step back and kind of really dumb it down from a consumer standpoint, that I kind of got lost in what the exact problem to the exact solution to the problem was, because it seems like you're solving so many problems at the same time. And if you go on Shark Tank, I remember our producers told us this too, because we were like, oh, our product is this and this and this and this and this, and you want to say everything about it, but at the end of the day they were just make the problem about you guys wanted to do more things, and there was nothing available that allowed you to do more things without causing all these other problems instead. So if anyone saw our episode, it was Ryan and I we're doing all these things, and then we just want to do more, but with energy drinks it was this, so we came up with gummy mints, and it was that simple. So and then you have an opportunity for the next hour and 15 minutes to talk about the tech, So I would say just simplify it down, really make it punchy on the key problems that you feel hyper passionate about, address those problems, and then explain all the tech and all the other amazing things about Scene afterwards.
That's great. Okay. Thanks, Ken. That's awesome feedback.
Yeah, great feedback from Ken and Susan, and great pitch from Ray. And I love the jacket, Ray. Can I get that as well online?
Yeah. It's launching in like 2 weeks.
All right. Yeah, I have to check it out. I hope everyone else does as well. So thanks so much, Ray. I'm going to move you back to our audience, and we'll invite our next entrepreneur, Yasmin, to come up and share their pitch. Bye, Ray. Thanks.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much for joining us today, Yasmin. So just like we did with Ray, I'm going to give you 90 seconds to pitch your business. Once you give us your name and the name of your business, then I'll start the clock and you can take it away with the pitch.
Great. Okay. Hello again. My name is Yasmin Sajadi. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Maza. We're a family-owned, women-owned, plant-based condiment company. And to honor our Afghan roots, we named our company Maza, meaning flavor in Farsi. In our house, there was no ketchup, there was no mustard, just our mom's cilantro and ginger chutney. Her secret blend was added to everything, and we're still eating it on everything. Besides the lack of diverse flavors on grocery store shelves, many condiments are full of sugar, they're high in sodium, and they have many preservatives. Maza is not. Maza is an authentic new product to market using fresh, bright ingredients showcasing a clean label that fits into many dietary preferences. Condiments and sauces is a $22.5 billion industry. The key players are Kraft, Heinz, and McCormick, but they only account for 20% of market share. This fragmented and diverse category leaves 80% for smaller and emerging brands like Maza. Since launch, we've averaged 120% year-over-year growth. In 2020, we moved to a co-manufacturer, we increased our volume and distribution, we rebranded, and even got into the New York Times. And now, in 2021, it's time to put our larger strategy to work. We have many opportunities ahead of us. We're talking with Target, with Harmons, Flensons, and Whole Foods. We're looking for $150,000 for 8% stake in our company. Thank you.
That's great. That's great. And for those of you who don't think 90 seconds is enough, she still had 15 seconds left and was able to get all of that information into her pitch. So thanks, congrats to you for practicing and getting the pitch down. Would love to hear from you. It sounds like retail is going to be, given some of the names you mentioned, it sounds like retail is going to be the next maybe big step for you in your business. What are you seeing currently in terms of the breakdown between retail and your direct to consumer or e-commerce? And are you expecting those percentages to hold as you move forward with some of these retail relationships?
For sure. Yeah. So for us, we relaunched at the end of November 2021, and we got into the New York Times December 2021. So our e-com just exploded, and we really quickly had to just figure it out. So right now, it's about half and half. I think we're still a pretty small, lean company. I think as we grow and we can strategize, we'd love to keep it at 50-50, but I think for the next year, we're going to continue to focus on the retail strategy and try to get on more shelves as we create brand awareness. For us, we had the unique opportunity of starting out at a farmer's market and really getting to know who our customers were. And right now we're seeing our foodie millennials just take charge across all channels, including D2C, e-com, and in retail. So that's our biggest focus right now is finding where they're at.
Got it. Thank you. Kent, what did you think?
I thought that was an amazing pitch. Does your COGS shift as you enter into a co-manufacturing agreement or into retail or on e-commerce?
For sure.
Like, what are the margin shifts across those?
Yeah, so it's all a volumes game. So as we continue to add more stores, our COGS will go down, and that's really the big push for retail is to try to get on as many store shelves as possible. So then we can offer our D2C the best price that we can. Right now, we're in our first year of production, so pricing is a little bit sensitive for us, but we have tons of opportunity to grow we're using a local co-manufacturing partner who's really trying to help us as a small business in kind of cut their minimum in half. But we have a really cool opportunity to, take a step back, run the numbers, figure out how we want to grow, where we want to grow, and be really intentional about it.
What do you sell at right now? And what are your margins? $7.99.
$7.99, and direct to consumer, we're taking home about 70%.
Okay.
And then
Pre-shipping or post-shipping?
They pay shipping, so post shipping.
Oh, okay.
And then our retail channel is about 40%. We have a local distributor here that works with natural food stores, so it kind of depends on the market and who's all in between and taking a chunk.
Got it.
Yeah, great stuff. Yeah, it's kind of that virtuous cycle. You work really hard from a D2C standpoint to get enough traction to warrant getting into retail, and then you scale to hopefully be able to bring that D2C e-commerce price down and then be able to scale again from that side. So it sounds like you've got it set up correctly. Susan, what did you think of her pitch?
Well, I like what she has to sell, but I want to know what type of competitors do you have in the market? They're so busy out there. Who are your competitors, and what's your margin is 70%? Did you say? That's very high.
We take home 70%, so our profit is 70% for our direct to consumer. But for our competitors right now, if you're just looking at chutney, the word chutney, there's a mango style chutney. It's very sweet, almost like a jam.
Mm-hmm.
And that's usually offered by like a Indian foods company in kind of in the center of the store aisle. So kind of a competitor, but not totally. If we're looking in the refrigerated, like clean condiments and clean dips category, which is growing at like 90% over the last 3 years, there's people like Mother Raw, who offers, a clean salad dressing. There's people like Haven's Kitchen out of Brooklyn, New York, who does, like a chimichurri or a turmeric kind of starter sauce. So these are all considered clean label sauces or flavor convenience sauces in the refrigerated section. So it's tough to say what will happen in the category, but there are a lot of product offerings because consumers are demanding it, right? Consumers are at home more. They're cooking many meals at home. I know people are getting vaccinated and going out more, but breakfast and lunch is still going to happen at home, and people are getting bored with what they're eating. So people are looking for ways to kind of spice up or change what they're, eating at home.
I think you're right, because the market is open for you from the older generation who also are very health conscious,
Mm-hmm.
and then a younger generation who are extremely health conscious, and you got a good future.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thanks again, Yasmin, for coming up and sharing your pitch, and thanks for taking this step and creating this business. I'm definitely looking forward to trying it out myself. I'm going to move you back to the audience and invite Celine Tien up to pitch. And while Celine's coming to the stage, did have a question. Does Shark Tank only do CPG products or products that you can touch and feel? The answer is no. Because it's a TV show and because there's a lot of consumers that are watching the show, we do end up having a lot of CPG products on the show. But if you have a SaaS company, if you have a mobile app business, if you have a tech company, or even if you have a service company that you're interested in scaling significantly, any of those companies all of those companies have been represented on the show from time to time, and any of those companies are welcome to apply to pitch for season 13. All right, so give us your name, the name of your business, and then you can take it away with the pitch.
Well, my name is Celine Tien, and I'm the founder of Flowly. So pain, it fucking sucks. If you have chronic pain, you can probably relate. You're also not alone. 1 in 3 Americans have chronic pain, and they spend $15 billion out of pocket every year on alternative tools just to manage pain. I realized there was no real accessible way to manage pain today because I grew up around people in a lot of pain, pancreatic cancer patients. And I realized firsthand that people in pain needed a platform that helped them manage physical pain, but also the number one symptom, which is anxiety and depression. So we developed Flowly. It's a mobile app that teaches you how to control your own nervous system so you can better manage both physical and mental pain. Flowly is backed by the National Institutes of Health and teaches you how to, on command, bring your body to a state of comfort and relaxation. We put you into these virtual reality worlds, so you're sitting on the beach with the aurora lights above you, and then combine that with biofeedback training, which is the ability to collect your real-time heart rate from a sensor, show it to you, and actually teach you how to control your own heart and body. And then you can learn to manage how you feel in these daily 10-minute Flowly sessions in VR. You can also keep track of progress through a data portal. We're $30 a month. That includes us shipping you a kit that includes a VR sensor and biofeedback sensor. And we've also done clinical trials where we've seen a 46% reduction in pain after using Flowly and a 50% reduction in pain medication use. You can find us on official Flowly across all social media, and we just launched 6 months ago. My name is Celine Tien. I'm the CEO and founder, and this is Flowly.
Great. Thank you so much, Celine. Great pitch. Great pitch. I always think it's interesting for me personally to see the practical application. You hear these words, VR, AR, virtual reality, et cetera. But what does it actually mean for someone's day-to-day life? Here's an actual practical application of it. So it's really cool. Susan, let's start with you. What did you think of the pitch?
I kind of get it. I have I'm thinking that what you do and also what Ken talked about his what he's put on show, you can both work together and co-market. In fact, Ken, what do you think about that?
Yeah, no, it sounds like a perfect idea.
I like that because because people can associate with it. Everybody has some sort of pain, whether it's severe arthritis, knee pain. I'm beginning to have knee pain now. And even when you take the COVID vaccine, you're pain. Can you cure that too? Some of the people cannot tolerate it, and they suffer for a week. It is very practical, as Brandon said, and I wish you luck.
Thank you.
Because you do speak to people's problem, and it's intolerable. And folks like me, I can't even take a needle.
Yeah, we actually work with people in hospitals. We're partnered with University of Pittsburgh Medical Center and USC. So that's definitely an application we've looked into.
Are you looking for investment?
We are actually raising our seed round right now. So you guys can reach out. I can put out my contact in the chat.
Okay.
Great. Kent, what did you think?
No, I'm a big fan of Flowly. I knew about them before. And I'm very curious what, if you do go on Shark Tank, what the investment ask would be. You don't have to say it here, but especially for tech companies and SaaS companies, there's going to be they're sharks, you know, they're going to really fight the valuation, especially if they can't get a solid number for how you're going to scale on your subscriptions, how you're going to scale, especially giving away a VR, like they're going to be like, what is a VR kit that you're giving away on your first run? Like, is that a loss leader to result in sales down the line? So again, you don't have to disclose what you're raising at on a public platform like this, but that's probably going to be like the key thing to think about when you do go on the show itself.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah, definitely great advice. I think that'll be key. And also, and I'm sure this is a question that you get often, but what metrics are you using to show the efficacy of the platform? Is your sensor measuring something in terms of pain receptors, or is it a survey or something that's happening after each one of the Flowly sessions? I'm sure that'll be something that comes up. But yeah, would love to learn more, and of course would love to connect with you offline, and just like everyone else who has submitted their information, and both the folks that are pitching with us today and also the folks that we might not have time to get to, we are of course sharing your information with my colleagues at who are actively doing casting for season 13 of the show, and so you'll definitely get the opportunity to get reviewed, and we'll see where it goes from there. But thank you so much, Celine, for coming up, and thanks so much for joining us, Stephen. So just like the previous pitches, give you 90 seconds. Start with your name, the name of your business, and then take it away.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks for having me. So my name is Stephen Tang. I am one of the co-founders of Drunk Fruit. We are making hard seltzers that are inspired by Asian fruits. Cool. So the problem for us is personal. So the reason we thought the world needed yet another hard seltzer with these flavors is because as Asian founders of this company, it was really hard for us to find the flavors that we loved outside the walls of the Asian grocery store. So we know these flavors like lychee that are similar to the lychee jelly cups of our youth. We knew that these flavors are worth sharing. And we knew that we love these flavors. Just when hard seltzer exploded in 2019, we were big fans, but something felt off for us because none of these hard seltzers that we loved really represented us as Asian Americans. And in a world where we're increasingly shifting our consumption towards an expression of our identity, we felt that we wanted a drink that really represented our experiences as Asians in this country. So what we want to do with this company is, of course, we want to share the flavors, but we also want to tell people more about our culture. And so what we really hope to do with our company is tell the story of Asian American culture through a drink and bring people together. At the same time, we're also solving a problem for distributors. So distributors that distribute alcohol to retailers, they want to diversify their portfolio into hard seltzers, but of course also into potentially Asian influenced products, because it actually gives them easier access to Asian retailers. And so we've heard through our conversations with distributors that we're also solving a problem for them. So the market is very large, $4.5 billion in 2020 for hard seltzer, and it's like still the fastest growing beverage category in the last couple of years. So we started the company 6 months ago during COVID. We're doing pretty well. Like our sales channels are primarily brick and mortar. We're already in Virginia and California, Total Wines, Bevmos, mid-sized grocery stores, 7-Elevens, and looking at Whole Foods soon. So what we're looking for are people that are interested in joining us in our mission of bringing people together through Asian American culture. We did recently close our first fundraising round, but are still looking for strategic investors or advisors who want to go on this mission and believe in this mission.
That's great, Stephen. That's great. Thank you so much for coming up and sharing your pitch. And of course, thanks to you and your team for working on a great business. I just saw yesterday in a store a blueberry hard seltzer, which spoke to my heart. And I grew up in a small town in South Alabama, and we called them blueberry trees. They're more like bushes, but we had blueberries all over my backyard, and there's a whole section of town called Blueberry Hills. It's just acres and acres of blueberries. So I grew up with them, but finding like good blueberry flavored things is difficult. And so I imagine a lot of folks from your community feel similarly about some of these flavors. And so, yeah, definitely great job. Kent, what did you think about the pitch?
No, I thought it was great. And it's definitely something that I would love to try. Two questions that I would have is, one, how do you stand out outside of being a seltzer that uses Asian fruit in a market that's filled with seltzers now? It's become hyper diluted, it seems, in the last year, especially.
Yeah, so as we're learning with like any consumer brand, I think the story is really important. So to get retailers and distributors on board with the story of us as founders, as Asian Americans, and sharing our culture is really important. But also we think like, just like the packaging and the vibrance of the colors stands out against some of the other name brand seltzers like White Claw and Truly. So to us, they're very sterile. They all look white, very like generic, metallic looking. We want to stand out as being more fun, vibrant, and colorful. So just like the whole vibe and persona that we give off is like another way we want to differentiate ourselves.
What's the price point?
So they retail at between $10 and $12 for a 6-pack, and we're coming out with a 12-pack soon that'll retail for around $20. So they're like a little bit more expensive than White Claw and Truly, but yeah, because we're a smaller batch, of course, we have to price a little bit higher.
If you have a shark that you would want to partner with, which shark would it be?
Good question. So,
by the way, this is for all the the people who pitch, that's something you should definitely have in your mind before you go in there. Like
Yeah.
if there's two or three you want to target, you should definitely know that.
Yeah. So for consumer brands, I should probably need to do a little bit more research on who is an expert in consumer brands and who has like the distribution partners. I would say like without, like, I don't know who it is, but like whoever has like the relationships with retailers like Costco, Whole Foods, that can get us into those stores, because our sales are primarily driven by brick and mortar distribution. So for now, like I can only say that. I don't know who it is, maybe Kevin. But yeah, someone who can help us with brick and mortar distribution.
Yeah. Yeah, that's definitely an important question to answer, and certainly not putting you on the spot there, Stephen, but hopefully a moment that'll be instructive for everyone else that's listening in. Definitely important to know not only what your ask is and what you're willing to trade in equity for that investment, but also who you like to partner with and why you think they'd be a great partner for you versus going out and connecting with a VC or an angel or some other funding resource outside of the tank. Susan, what did you think about the pitch?
Well, first of all, I think Barbara may be a good shack to go after.
Okay.
And Damien too. Damien also. I think that have you thought of target marketing your pitch to the particular market, because it's for Asian? Do you have a way to get to the places where the Asian would shop, because they love food?
Mm-hmm.
They taste anything. They just go out and they're big spenders on food. That would be great if you can create a buzz within the Asian market that will also help you with the other markets as well.
Yeah, for sure. So we get the word out right through online advertising. So we do try to play into like the Asian culture and Asian memes in our branding and advertising. We are also in Asian grocery stores. So we're in some mid-sized Asian grocers, going to be in Ranch 99 Ranch soon, and H Mart as well.
And Asian, but the fusion is hot. So you can get into that part, Asian fusion market. That will give you, and I love the color that you have, the vibrant color. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Great stuff. Well, thank you again to Kent and Susan for sharing your great feedback. And Stephen, again, thank you for coming up and sharing what you're working on. And congrats again on building something great. I'm looking forward to buying some and trying it out myself. I'll move you back down to the audience as we close out for the day. Thank you for joining us for our virtual tank event with Kent from Neuro and the U.S. Pan Asian American Chamber of Commerce. I'm so happy to have Susan Allen from the Chamber joining us today. And of course, would love for Susan to share how people can get in contact with you in the Chamber and connect with some of the programming you're doing before we close out.
Best thing is through social media, Twitter and now Instagram. You can contact us there and we'll respond. And by the way, for all of you, for in the food product companies like Target, Kellogg, and Walmart, they're always looking for new products to put on their shelf. And you don't forget them. Go pitch them, because they're looking for new things to put on the shelf, and they wanted to. Some of them may like it so much that they want to take your brand and want to have it made in their name. But of course, they are shocked themselves too, right?
Exactly. I know actually Walmart's having their open call, I think in another month or so. And I think applications are open online. And I saw that Target has a new program called Forward Founders for retail focused early stage companies. And I think there's a grant that you get for participation. I'll find those links and share them with everyone who RSVP'd for the event. So you'll have those links as you look to continue to build your businesses. Thanks so much again, Susan, to you and your team for the work that you're doing supporting entrepreneurs. Kent, any closing thoughts before we head out?
I mean, I thought all the pitches today were amazing. And I wish you the best of luck in refining them. And you could always reach out to me. I'm very entrepreneur friendly, and so is Ryan. Find us on getneuro.com and just message our customer service team and just say you're a part of this, and they'll put you in direct contact with me if you have more questions. You could also find us on social media at NeuroGum, and we respond to our DMs as well. Last thing, the PNG is also doing something with their venture team. I think the guy's name is Mark Silva. If you want to look up PNG Ventures, Mark Silva, to pitch. I just wanted to piggyback off Susan's point on retailers. I know a lot of CPG brands here get really anxious about entering into a wholesale/retail marketplace because there's something really nice about seeing yourself out in the world, but don't deny the fact that we are hyper connected on the World Wide Web now. And having an e-commerce business that is successful will also save you a lot of headaches of having to deal with these sharks out in the retail world, which, trust me, I've been dealing with the last 2 years. So just always think of your business as your child, and all things will go well, but don't be overly anxious to dive headfirst into something like retail if e-commerce is already working.
Mhm.
Yeah. Great advice. Great advice. Definitely do what's best for you and your business, not necessarily what you see everybody else doing. Thank you again, Kent, for following again your dreams and coming up with this incredible business with your partner and continuing to grow it. We're looking forward to seeing your business continue to grow nationwide and worldwide, and maybe we'll be able to do another check-in, hopefully sooner rather than later, and hear about what you've been up to the next time. Again, I am Brandon Andrews from Values Partnerships. We run a nationwide casting tour for ABC Shark Tank, focused on making sure that the diversity in the audience watching at home is reflected in the entrepreneurs pitching on the show. We're doing a series of virtual conversations in this pandemic environment called Virtual Tank. Thank you so much for joining us today. Thanks again to the USPAACC for their partnership and for joining us, and for all of the entrepreneurs who joined us today. Whether you pitched on during this session or not, I do have your information, and we will be reviewing it with the team for season 13 of ABC Shark Tank. Looking forward to seeing all of your businesses continue to grow. Feel free to reach out to me if I can be helpful. Thank you, and I hope you have a great rest of the day. Bye-bye.